Here's an example of a rational equation, one that has fractions in it, possibly with the variable in the denominator. First thing I'm going to do when I'm solving a rational equation like this is look at all the denominators, and we need to be careful about denominators being zero. We can't divide by zero, so any value of the variable that would cause the denominator to end up to be zero, we can't use. So I'm going to look here, I have 3 times x. I don't want that to ever be 0. If 3x was 0, then that means if I divide both sides by 3, then x would be 0. I don't want x to be 0 because I don't want the denominator to be 0. So x is not allowed to be 0. If I work all the way through the rest of this and end up with x equals 0, I'm going to have to throw it out. X is not allowed to be 0. So now we're just going to go ahead and see what happens. I'm going to need a common denominator. And that common denominator has to take in all of the denominators that we see here. My common denominator, it's definitely going to need an x because I have x's in some of my denominators. It's also going to need a number that I can divide evenly and get a whole number by all of the denominators that I have. So I need a number that I can divide by 3, I can divide it by 4, I can divide it by 6, and still 3. 12 will work. I can do 12 divided by 3 and get a whole number. 12 divided by 4, 12 divided by 6. There's my common denominator. Now I'm going to go through one term at a time and multiply each and every term by 12x. If I multiply everything in that equation by the same, then my equal sign is still true, and I'll have something that's a little nicer to solve. So I'm just going to go one term at a time. Here's the first one. 2 over 3x. I'm going to multiply by my common denominator of 12x. You can put it over 1 if it helps you see it better. Simplify before you multiply. X divided by x is 1. And I have 12 divided by 3 and 3 divided by 3. Now I'm going to multiply what's left. If you've chosen wisely, you should have only ones left on the bottom, which we do. So denominator is gone. And we'll figure out what's left on the top here. I got a 2 and a 4. 2 times 4 is 8. So there's the new improved version of my first term. Instead of 2 over 3x, now it's 8. Next, I'm just marching through one at a time here. So next term is 1/4. I'm going to multiply it by my common denominator, which is 12x. 12 divided by 4, we can do that one. 12 divided by 4 is 3. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 1's in the denominator, and I have 3 and the x still on the top. So there's the new improved version of my next term, plus 3x equals, here's next, 11 over 6x, multiply by common denominator. X divided by x is 1, so those are gone. And I can divide 6 and 12, each by 6. 12 divided by 6 is 2. 6 divided by 6 is 1. 1's on the bottom. I got an 11 and a 2. Multiply is 22. So my new improved third term now is 22. One more. 1/3. Oh, heaven forbid, wrong color. 1/3 times common denominator. 12 divided by 3 is 4. 3 divided by 3 is 1. Simplified, so I got the 4 and the x. That's 4x. That's minus, it's going to stay minus, and I got 4x. Once we do that, now I have an equation. It's a linear equation. fractions are gone. I can solve this. I'm going to put all the variables on one side, so I'm going to do that by adding 4x on both sides of the equal sign. The 8 is still there, and now I have 3x plus 4x. 4x minus 4x is 0. Those are gone. Now I want the numbers on the right since the x is on the left, so I'm going to subtract 8. 8 minus 8 is gone. 22 minus 8 is 14. Almost there. Divide 7. Both sides. 7 divided by 7 is 1, so I got my x. 14 divided by 7 is 2. And now we're going to think, I got x equals 2. Is that okay? I'm going to look up here. At the beginning, we said x is not allowed to be 0. Well, x isn't 0. X is 2. That's fine. If I'd gotten x is 0, that's a problem. But I didn't. X is 2. That's allowed. So put a big box around it and call it done.